morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Tuesday, the 22nd day of February, 2022. Tuesday of the 7th week in Ordinary Time, but more importantly today we have a major feast, the Feast of the Chair of the Apostle St. Peter. Still coming to you from the shore, from the beach. The priest assembly is still going on. The ocean is a little bit angry today. But behind me there's the blockade runner. Oh, there it is. Blockade runner. Front and center. There we go. Front and center. And so the second day of the priest assembly, continue to pray for the priests of the diocese as they discuss and envision again a new, not future, but a continuing future, continuing direction for the diocese now as we move into the fifth year of Bishop Luis's tenure as Bishop of the Diocese of Raleigh. So back to today's feast. Today, again, one of the few feasts of this at this time of the year, and if it was Lent, it would be one of the few breaks in the season of Lent to celebrate the Feast of the Chair of the Apostle St. Peter, and the Solemnity of St. Joseph and the Solemnity of the Annunciation would be the other two. But today, the chair, we're celebrating a piece of furniture. That's always a thing. I think I talked about this last year. It is not a piece of furniture that we are celebrating, although the name has the furniture in it. What it is celebrating is the understanding of leadership, understanding of guides, understanding of those who truly embraced the understanding of order, from the Latin ordo, which really means to guide something, to guide one. The priesthood is often thought of as an order, and understood again we have holy orders within the sacrament. It's not about those who give orders. No, it is not that, not at all. It is about those who help to guide and help to lead through guiding the way to understanding where the kingdom is being revealed. The kingdom is becoming known, is flourishing within our time and place, because as Jesus says in the Gospels, the reign of God is at hand. The reign of God is here and now. So we celebrate all of those, beginning with Peter, and continuing today. Not just popes. It's men and women who have sought to guide and to lead this community of faith, so that we might truly understand God's will for us through the ups and downs, the joys and wonders of this life in which we live. And so today we have an interesting gospel. So there's the first reading, and then there's the gospel. The first reading is from one of the letters. I forget what it is, but that's not. It's important, but it connects, but it's not important as the gospel is, because here we have this interesting contrast between Peter's confession of faith that we heard in Mark's gospel a couple of weeks ago, actually last week. Yes, last week, which we heard last week on Thursday, I think it was, and now this confession of faith from Matthew's gospel, which is the gospel for the chair of Peter, and. The gospel for the chair of Peter from Matthew's gospel is the one that talks about, Peter proclaiming Jesus as the Christ and standing up and saying that this is who you are, and it's like, I will be with you forever, and then Jesus saying, because you have said this, you are rock, and I will build this church upon you, gates of hell will not withstand against it, and sins held and bound and loosened and whatever it is. All of that great play up for Peter, great play up for Peter. Mark, remember, doesn't have anything like that. Peter confesses his faith. Jesus says to keep quiet, and then Peter decides to go immediately to say, "Oh, you shouldn't die," because Jesus talks about the proclamation of the passion, and Peter says, "Oh no, you shouldn't die," or anything else like that, and then Jesus calls Peter Satan. He will also do that in Matthew's gospel, but that kind of gets lost with all of this. Peter, you're the greatest thing ever, and we know that Peter isn't the greatest thing ever. That he makes mistakes, and continues to make mistakes, and it becomes problematic for him, and it seems almost for the mission. So the sense, in which we recognize Peter's leadership, but also know that it was a leadership that had difficulties and issues and faults and failings, even in the midst of it. So too is the truth of all of those who guide and who lead us. Amid the faults and failings and the problems and disappointments that we find in our leaders and in our guides within our church, do we also find the will of God? Do we find God's presence? Do we find God's love and mercy guiding us always into that reign which never ends, that reign which renews the whole world, that reign which gives us true peace? May the Lord give you his peace.